Capital of Alaska?
Yes, you just said it.
Exactly, thank you. Very good. Juno is the capital of Alaska. Juneau. Juno. But there's something unique about it.
It rains all the bloody time, I know that.
Well, it's not accessible by road. You can only get there by air or water. There is no road to Juno.
Sarah Palin can get there by walking on the water.
Well. And can you tell me the biggest joke ever to come out of Alaska?
Sarah Palin, who
We're not forfeiting you that. It was so obvious.
Oh,
we weren't even going to forfeit it.
If I had forfeited, I would have refudiated.
We would have refudiated. Anyway, the point is, there is actually a famous practical joke, an April Fool's joke that came out of Alaska. It took a lot of preparation and it was rather extraordinary. We'll show you a photograph that might give you a hint. I mean, it's not really going to be easy, but what's in the background now?
This is a volcano-based practical
joke,
and it's one that I read about it and it very much impressed me because if you do a practical joke which is, cling film over the toilet, something simple.
Yeah.
The person who did this practical joke... It's a good one. It doesn't work for women necessarily because we tend to notice when we sit down that there's some... But for men, I tell you, it's a hoot. There was a volcano... and a gentleman, I can't remember his name, I apologise, decided to try and make it seem as if it was erupting, so took loads of tyres and set fire to it, and then everyone came out of their houses and went, the volcano's erupting. Because it was
absolutely
so good.
right. He waited 3 years till there was a clear April the 1st. He took kerosene and smoke bombs and tyres and he dropped them down the crater and set fire to it. But in 50-foot letters, he did say April Fool, and he warned the federal authority. He called them up, but he forgot to call the Coast Guard, who did panic a bit. But it was, fortunately, all taken in the right spirit. And his name is Porky Bicar.
Porky?
Porky. That was his nickname. Porky. He was American, so he was called Porky. Porky Bicar. And that is, aside from Sarah Palin, the greatest joke ever to come out of Alaska.
It is a good one.
I have to say, I am very impressed, again, with your knowledge. So, we're currently now... not giving too much away, in a studio in London. Where is the nearest piece of American soil to us here?
Grosvenor Square?
Is it? No! The fact is, most people wrongly think that you're right that the American embassy is in Grosvenor Square. At the moment, they're about to move it. But an embassy is not considered the sovereign soil of the nation whose embassy it is. It belongs to Britain, the soil there. It's not American soil. This is a myth, this idea that the moment you step foot, you're on American soil. They wanted to buy the lease. Who owns Grosvenor Square?
Duke of Westminster.
The Duke of Westminster. The Grosvenor family, yeah, the Duke of Westminster. And they asked for the freehold. And do you know what he said? He said, yes, if you give my family back the state of Virginia, which you confiscated from us. You can have that. So they decided not to.
Good work, Duke of Westminster. I like him already.
But there is American soil in Britain, and the nearest to us is in Surrey. It's a tiny area. It's a memorial. A place in Surrey famous for an extraordinary British event in the year 1215. Do you know what happened?
The signing of the Magna Carta.
Yes,
I know where it is.
Runnymede.
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 Yes. But what is the memorial in Runnymede?
There's a JFK memorial.
It's the memorial to John F. Kennedy.
I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah. And it's deliberately these sort of isometric, or whatever the word is, asymmetric steps, this slightly higgledy-piggledy, to suggest a journey of pilgrimage towards him. And it is officially American soil.
We could not find pie in the sky, but we can find beer. Where would we find beer in the sky?
Oh, in space.
In space, about 10,000 light years from Earth.
Did someone lob a can up? It's just landed.
Here is an incredible thing. There is a giant cloud of alcohol with enough ethyl alcohol for 400 trillion pints of beer. That is enough for every person on Earth to drink 300,000 pints every day for 1 billion years. Because it's spiked with hydrogen cyanide.
Classic.
I know.
Damn those Russians.
But in intriguing thing is that the cloud contains ethyl formate, so that is it's the chemical compound that helps give raspberries their taste.
Oh.
And it reportedly smells like rum. It seems that the centre of our galaxy may taste and smell like raspberry-flavoured rum.
Oh, my God.
Can I just ask, when you say it reportedly smells like rum,
Yeah.
who reported it?
Well, we know what the chemical is and we know what the chemical smells like, but nobody's been there.
Right.
You could
I'm here
volunteer.
now.
Yeah.
What's it smell like? What's it smell like?
I mean, it could be blackberries. I think it's raspberries. Doris disagrees.
Have you had raspberries for breakfast?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. Now I think of it.
People who do those wine things, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I'm getting blackcurrant, I'm getting running naked through heather.
Skirting boards. I'm getting skirting boards and linoleum. You've fallen over.
Getting the action of someone stretching a turtle's neck. Slash skipping rope.
Alcohol in the air. 2017, there was a fraternity party, a Tequila Tuesday, at a fraternity house called Sigma Alpha Epsilon in Bethesda in Maryland. They drank so much alcohol that the ambient air in the house failed a breathalyzer test.
That is brilliant.
I used to take my kids to this music group. I said, where does it take place? They said, it's in the rugby club, in the bar. I went into the bar, which is carpeted. I don't think any bar should ever be carpeted. Now, that ambient air would have failed a breathalyzer test. And all the toddlers were pissed as fuck. They were singing, show me the way to go home.
Thank you for
Best
watching.
place to punch a shark.
In a pub. In a pub after loads of pork scratchings when he's really dehydrated. And then you look really hard and people who aren't sharks go, don't want to mess with them.
In the eye.
In the eye is the right answer, yes. Yeah. A lot of people, for some reason, seem to think the nose. They may be confusing it with dogs. But the eye is the best place. Or the gill. The eye or the gill. It so happens that more people in the world are bitten by New Yorkers every year than they are by sharks.
But not in the water, though.
I think, though, you have to take into account the relative seriousness of that event.
Well, no, actually, funny enough. 81% of victims attacked and bitten by sharks suffered minor injuries.
OK, how many New Yorkers a year bite someone's leg off?
I don't know, but they may well cause rabies and other hideous diseases.
Well...
And certainly more people are killed in America by lavatory accidents than sharks. But what saddens me is 120 million sharks every year are killed by us human beings.
For their fins?
And just for their bloody fins.
Just
And
for
it's
what, sorry?
Fins.
Shark fins
Often
too.
the rest of the body's thrown in the water. It's a tasteless thing, a shark fin, as well. It doesn't even taste of anything. Chicken stock has to be added to it to give it flavour.
But I hate sharks.
Well, why would you? They're beautiful, extraordinary animals. They don't harm anybody. What, because you find them ugly?
I think they're scary. They're incredibly scary. Every cell in my body, when I see that, says, it is the enemy.
They've got far more reason to be scared of a human than a human
Majority
has
of
of a
mammals
shark.
see human beings and exactly.
I would say they would. Look at the miracle of their teeth. That's extraordinary. They have rows of teeth. No, listen. Their teeth go backwards. And they bite, and then they fall out, and the next one literally comes forward, like they've got conveyor belt of rows of teeth going all the way back in there.
But more impressive than that, Stephen, is how she's managed to do a lipstick underwater.
It is well, isn't it? Very pretty and charming.
Now your talk of razor-sharp teeth on a conveyor belt's making them sound quite sweet.
So, anyway, a shark's nose is a shade too close to its mouth to go jabbing around there, so your best bet is to go for the gills or the eyes.
What would you hear at the most peaceful place in Britain?
I reckon dogging. Honestly, they're ruining the countryside.
We've got rights.
You've also got houses.
I think the answer is builders.
Builders?
Builders. Because that's what happens in all the most beautiful places of the land. All you can hear is builders.
Well, that is not the case, because we are looking at the most peaceful spot in Britain. It's been officially declared the campaign to protect rural England. It is a region of Northumberland National Park. It's been left alone since 1911. 23% of this national park is owned by the MOD and is used for military training. So, remarkably quiet unless a tank is going past. Yeah, or they're firing things at you.
There's one of them down in Lulworth Cove in Dorset, where there's a tank firing range, and there's massive traffic signs that just say, "Warning, sudden gunfire." I mean, I don't know about how the rest of you live, but all gunfire is sudden for me.
Yes.
I always wondered with that sign, it's a triangle with falling rocks, and it just says falling rocks.
Yeah.
That might as well just say, "Be lucky."
Yeah.
While you're driving along doing that, that's when you hit things, isn't it?
You'll get little beeps just as they come just above your car.
There won't be a beep. That's
There's
the
no
annoying
beep.
thing. There'll be no beep for
You ain't
that.
got a beep
There
up
won't be
there.
a roof beep.
Hey, does anybody else, when you go through one of those, you know, the height inhibitor into a certain car park, you're in a car and you know you're going to fit into it, but do you?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what my one is. I'll be driving along on the motorway, and there'll be fog, and I'll drive like that. Just in case the fog is in the car. There's a big sign saying fog. If you can see it, it's not that bad, is it?
Keep in this basket.
You get those if you go fruit picking. Baskets like that.
Yes, you do, but not it's this particular basket.
It looks a bit like a building to me.
It is a building. It is exactly right. What you'd keep in it is a basket-making company. It is a 7-storey picnic basket. It was built as the headquarters for a basket-making company called Longaberger Company. It was the brainchild of Mr. Dave Longaberger, and at one point the architects tried to talk him out of it. They said it was a very bad idea. And he said, if they can put a man on the moon, they can certainly build a building that's shaped like a basket.
You say brainchild.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, Mr. Longaberger no longer with us, and the Longaberger Company has downsized and relocated. It's rather sad,
Was
isn't
he
it?
buried in a coffin made in a massive coffin-shaped factory?
Yeah. What do you think gets made in this building? So it's the middle bit that we're really interested in, the sort of the very long bit. What do you think?
Now, is that the rope-making place in Chatham?
It is absolutely the rope-making place in Chatham. Rope has been made there since 1618. And it's where all the strands are woven together to make the rope.
I know it because I've been in it.
Have you? Why were you in it?
We're doing a Horizon documentary about how long is a piece of string.
Oh!
That's the sort of thing Horizon ought to be doing.
They've got a building that's about a quarter of a mile long. The ropes go almost as far as you can see properly. They make very, very long ropes indeed.
They do, and it's really, really tough work. You start the rope-making process by combing the raw hemp fibre across boards with long iron pins. They're called hatchels, and it straightens the fibres. And then they use whale oil to lubricate the fibres, which is known as train oil.
Did you say whale oil?
Whale oil, yes. A whale is part oil. I have a recipe. Do you want more?
Is there a vegan version?
It'd be nice if you could tap into the whale and get some oil without having to drag it out and slice it up.
Yeah, what, like a tap?
Yeah.
What are those things you stick in trees, you know, that you wind in and then the sap comes out?
To get the sap out.
So you could do that with a whale. It wouldn't be pleasant.
No.
If you said to the whale, look, you've got 2 options here.
Yeah.
Either we put a tap on you...
Yeah.
Or we slice you into pieces. What's it going to be?
You have to You have to go 5 miles away to hear the answer.
I think he said tap. Let's do it.
On buzzers. Where is this cheese from? I'll give you a clue. It begins with S. Alan.
Shropshire.
I don't know what made you think of it.
Sometimes you say the obvious one, and then you go, yes. But never to me.
It doesn't come from Shropshire. Anything else? It begins with an S, does not come from Shropshire.
Spain, Sussex, Surrey, Scotland.
Scotland, it comes from Scotland. It absolutely does. It was originally called Inverness-shire Blue or Blue Stewart, and I don't know why they thought if they renamed it Shropshire, people would be more likely to buy it. So it was a PR job.
So is it quite a recent?
It's a fairly recent cheese, yeah. Rather like Stinking Bishop.
Oh, yeah, that's like a made-up oldie-worldy thing, isn't
It's
it?
1973 it was
like
invented.
hobnobs. They're quite recent.
Are they?
Yeah, the hobnobs. Oh, that's an old biscuit. I'll have a hobnob. It's about something like 1981. I resent the hobnob's quick entry into sort of... It's a quick biscuit to refer to. In a joke, you go, oh, a hobnob or whatever. No, hobnob, you're new. Leave the biscuit references to the rich tea and the digestive. They've done the time. It's like a bloody ploughman's lunch. Add executives' inventions.
And tonight's show was sponsored by Hobnobs. To whom we can only apologise. Stinking Bishop is actually named after the perry, so the pear drink that it's steeped in.
Right.
And the pear itself was bred by a man called Mr. Bishop, and he was so bad-tempered he was known as Stinking Bishop. So bad-tempered that once his kettle failed to boil as fast as he wanted it to, so he shot it.
And then he pissed it.
But does anybody know the price of the most expensive cheese in the world? It's called Poule.
1,000 euros.
You're not far off. It is £700 a pound.
What's so special about it?
It's made from donkey milk. So I don't know if you've ever tried to milk a donkey, but... it tastes...
Kicked in the face a lot.
You have to dress as an ice hockey goalkeeper.
25 litres of donkey milk to make 1 kilo of cheese of the Poule. So
Is it very delicious?
I've never had it. It's rather crumbly, apparently, and meant to be a delicacy. And it would be at that price. You wouldn't want to have a lot. You wouldn't want to think, oh, I'm tired, just open the fridge. Cracker.
Melt it on toast.
Yes.
I bought a rather nice lump of some sort of fancy cheddar, and it was in a waxy dome, you know.
Baby Bell.
Not a Baby Bell. Baby Bell. Don't you know?
Could have been a very old Baby Bell. Like a pre-war Baby Bell.
Really big. Anyway, it cost quite a lot. And I thought I'm going to enjoy that. And then when I came home, my wife had grated it on the kids' jacket potatoes. She couldn't understand my indignation. You see, you sound ridiculous. We're in the kitchen going, that's a very expensive cheese!
She said, it's a Baby Bell.
In America, there are 3 places called Fort Nonsense, but only one called Nowhere. What's the official name for the middle of nowhere? There's a place in the world that is the middle of nowhere.
Well, Croydon. I'm from Croydon, so I can say that, OK?
It's the centre of the least populated bit.
You're absolutely in the right area. So where would you find the least number of people? Not necessarily on the land, maybe?
Oh, so
the ocean.
It's a part of the Pacific. It is as far from land as it is possible to get on the Earth, and it's called Point Nemo. It is 1,700 miles from any coast, named, of course, after the submarine captain in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
And there's a Starbucks there, right?
Yeah, there's a Starbucks. Nemo, Latin rendering of the ancient Greek utus, meaning nobody. It's also known as the oceanic pole of inaccessibility, and here is the extraordinary thing. You'd think there's nothing there, but it is a spacecraft graveyard. There are more than 160 spacecraft littering the ocean floor there. I'd say they're mostly Russian. So here's the thing. It's much cheaper to allow the orbit to decay naturally than to push it out into space. But when they know they're going to do this to a spacecraft, they have to see if there are any sailors in the area and ring them or contact them by radio and make sure that they know. And if you pass Point Nemo at the right time of day, you'll be closer to the astronauts on the space station, 250 miles away, than to any other human being on Earth. Wow. Isn't that extraordinary?
Now, where would you find the world's driest lake, the world's smallest mountain range, and the world's wettest desert?
Are they all in the same place?
They are in the same
Right, we're
same
looking at
country.
America, aren't we?
We are in America. You can tell, really, the
We're
big
in
giveaway.
the Midwest of America. We are in...
Oh, start on the left of our triptych. Where's that...
Salt Lake Flats?
It's the biggest and driest lake in the world, and it is a salt lake, and it's so flat that it's very useful for something. So useful that it's...
The land speed record, Anthony Hopkins, world's fastest Indian. I'm going to break the world speed record. I'm going to do it in this car. Here I go. Look at me now. Look at me go. I'm playing a New Zealander. Sometimes my accent will be like that, and other times it'll be something else altogether. Doesn't matter. I'm Anthony Hopkins. Am I? Do what I want. Do what I want.
Now, what if he was trapped in a box?
Oh, you are wonderful. I'll choose you as a companion for a walking tour or to be trapped in a lift with any day, Rob. But yes, you're right. And there's a name. The name of that particular lake is given to a famous Triumph motor bicycle. Does that help you give its name?
Oh, Bonneville.
Bonneville.
Oh,
it's the Bonneville, yes. Bonneville Lake. And it's so flat you can see the curvature of the earth on it.
Wow.
And
Well, so
it is
not
ideal.
Literally curved.
So yes, the Salt Flat is the driest lake.
Why do they call it a lake? Because it's not a lake anymore.
Well, it's a dried-up lake. Its shape and all its features are dominated by its ex-lakeness.
Except for the water.
Except for
Everything
its lack
except
of
for the
water, yeah. Mediterranean was once the biggest dry lake in the world in the late Miocene era.
The water came rushing in over the Straits of Gibraltar.
Yeah, quite right. 6 million years ago.
I know this because I saw it in the Plymouth Aquarium.
That must have been fabulous for the sort of all the towns around sort of Spain and Portugal that rely on tourism. Must have been a hell of a year.
Whoa, absolutely.
Well, that just kind of came in and they went, this is fantastic. Finally, these jet skis are going to get an outing.
It's true. Anyway, yeah, the rock of Gibraltar, which joined North Africa to Spain, crumbled away, and the water from the Atlantic flooded in, and there you were. There was the Mediterranean Sea. And all the fish in the Mediterranean are descended from Atlantic types.
You mentioned the Rock of Gibraltar. People think of monkeys and the Rock of Gibraltar. Yes.
Good, excellent point.
Yeah. Is that it?
No.
No. Right. What else do we know about Barbary apes?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
It was it.
So the Barbary monkeys, which are called miscalled Barbary apes, but they are actually Barbary monkeys. You're correct right to call them monkeys. Thank you, thank you. Smallest mountain range was the midmost of our triptych of photographs.
So where's that?
That's not far away.
Well, isn't that a hill?
Incidentally, Bonneville was in which state?
Utah.
Utah is exactly right, yes. And we're moving a little further to what's the capital of California? State capital of California. Sacramento is the state capital of California.
How is that not a hill, then? What defines a mountain?
That's a good question. But in the US, anything that rises 1,000 feet from base to apex is a mountain. In the UK, the official definition is 600 metres above sea level, a little less than 2,000 feet. In this mountain range, they're 2,117 feet, but it's only something like 10 miles in diameter, the whole range.
One thinks of that wonderful British film starring that great British actor Hugh Grant, the Englishman who went up a hill but came down a mountain.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah. Thank you. And so...
Hang on a second, Stephen. I have a feeling, do you do Hugh Grant?
Gosh, so I went up a hill and sort of came down a bloody mountain. Gosh.
I had a feeling we might be going there.
Very good. Excellent. And moving on, the wettest desert.
The North Sea.
You see, now you have to stick to the definition of a desert.
Still in America.
Still in America.
So what's the definition of a desert?
A desert is a place...
Well, there's virtually no rainfall. Is that right?
Well, there's quite a lot of rainfall here, but there's a moisture deficit. It loses more moisture than it...
So it's kind of got a holy floor.
Yeah. It qualifies... It's the Sonoran Desert, or the...
Oh.
In California. The western states of the USA have many mighty unusual features, including the driest lake, the smallest mountain range, and the wettest desert in the world. Which brings us back to Alan and maps.
What have I done?
Well, now there's a question for you. There's 100 points in this if you get it.
100 nectar points?
No. 100 points if you can tell me which was the last place in Britain to convert to Christianity.
Oh. God, I know this. Oh.
It's got... Any...
No.
Go on.
The summit of Ben Nevis. Two guys.
Underground.
Aye, what's this Christianity?
Any thoughts on this side of the table?
Is it a place called Satan is My Master on...
It's pronounced Sempster.
Is it now on the British mainland, or is it something going to be at the Falklands?
The Lake District.
No, it's not the Lake District. It is not on the British mainland.
Essex.
I repeat, it is not on the British mainland.
Not on the British mainland?
Essex is not culturally on the British mainland, but...
The Isle of Man.
Oh,
Isle of Wight?
yes!
No!
It's the Isle of Wight. Well done.
Clapping for. That was a total guess.
It was, of course.
Brilliant.
No, it's surprising because you would imagine, of course, that the Isle of Wight was about the first place the Christians would come to.
Wheels on the bus
The needles.
Yes, darling, those are called the needles. Very good. 1 point to you for knowing about the needles. Top work. What do you know about the Isle of Wight?
All the clocks stopped in 1952, and all the shops are the same as they were then.
It does seem a little like that, doesn't it? Yes, there's one species of animal that's still...
Dog, cat, rat, mouse.
Hasn't made it to the Isle of Wight.
Horses.
No, there are horses on the Isle of Wight. But most people are rather pleased this animal hasn't made it, not a fox.
Flea.
Snake.
Oh, the rat, because of the magnet.
No, it's often called... It's often called a kind of rat, like pigeons are.
Mouse. Squirrel.
The grey squirrel.
The
grey squirrel.
All right, squirrel. Stephen.
Yes, I was going, yes.
Shut up, Bill.
All right, squirrel. You made the point.
Squirrel.
The grey squirrel. The North American grey squirrel.
Don't say squirrel.
The North American grey squirrel.
Well done, Alan. Very good. You're the first person to get that. No, Rob, I wouldn't do that to you.
This is an editing masterclass.
Little face.
Editing masterclass, you say. All right. The North American grey squirrel?
Red squirrel. The red squirrel can't live with the grey squirrel.
Ebony and Ivory are together on my piano keyboard, so why can't they be?
Yeah.
Something like that. Why
You
can't
need a kind of squirrel fur keyboard.
Nice.
That's barbaric. Are you saying you want pianos clad in the pelt of a squirrel? If that's what you're saying, Fry, you should be stopped.
Isle of Wight was the last place in Britain to be invaded by the French, by a foreign
How
power.
did they miss that, then?
Sorry?
How do they miss the other? Do they go onto the mainland and then straight up?
Oh, Christianity?
Yeah. And
Yes, I don't know, it's odd, isn't
when
it?
When they came back, they went, hang on,
They've left this bit out.
Worshipping Satan.
It was in 686 AD, almost a century after the rest of the country. Subjugated by Cadwalla, who was king of the West Saxons and who had to kill most of the pagan population to Christianise it. Good old Christianity.
Now, before we start, I happen to know that one of you encountered a lot of radioactive material when you were a child. Do you know who it was?
Warning.
Yes, Josh.
It was me.
It was you. You were
What a start!
positively glowing. Why is that?
Because I was bitten by a radioactive spider. No, I grew up on Dartmoor, and there was radon.
Yes.
So we used to have these radon detectors.
Yep.
That I had one in my room that was like a kind of plastic yellow thing that would kind of sit on a shelf and would tell you if there was radon.
Do you really believe that? It sounds like some toy your children...
I'm now starting to question whether my parents just...
mucking about.
Yeah, were taking the piss, yeah.
No, but you're right. Especially the middle of Dartmoor is the worst place in the country for radon.
Is that why he's so small? You know that radiation causes mutations.
Yes, the largest source of radiation that the UK public gets comes in the form of gases radon and thoron, and being in the middle of Dartmoor, that's absolutely the worst place. Now, you two are the Birmingham team. You both grew up in Birmingham. It's actually an island of low radiation. It's very low risk, a bit like Essex.
Should we be proud of that?
Yes. I love Birmingham. I think Birmingham's fab, yeah.
Yeah, I do as well.
I love the canal. I think the canal's fantastic. No? Really?
We used to go on canal holidays to
Birmingham?
To Birmingham.
God, he is mutated. You live in the most beautiful county in England and you go to Birmingham on your holiday.
It was a real refreshing change, actually, to see people. But my dad would say the great thing about Birmingham for canal holidays, it's got more miles of canal than Venice.
That's true, it
Which
has.
implies he'd considered Venice.
Josh, do you know why residents in Devon and Cornwall are exposed to quite as much radiation as they are?
No, I don't.
It's the ground rock. It's largely granite.
Granite.
So the granite contains small amounts of uranium that decays and that produces radon, and you can be exposed to as much as 7 millisieverts of radiation per year. So that's the same as having CT scan. It's the same as taking 85 transatlantic flights. It is weirdly the same as eating 70 kilos of what, do you think?
Granite.
Brazil nuts.
Oh, I eat so many Brazil nuts.
They contain quite a lot of radon because they have very deep roots which can get right down into the soil that's high in radium.
What's an unsafe amount of Brazil nuts?
I mean, I think anything under 70 kilos, you're probably going to be okay.